Alright guys, MR.TwoSix checking in. Here it is, the base form of the Lightning Gundam. Some brief history on this kit. It was designed around the GZ Gundam, which appeared in Char's Counter Attack. And the shoulder pieces, you'll see these green circles, those are actually sensors that help facilitate performance in the field. So what ends up happening is the rifle can actually be hooked up to one of the sensors, and that greatly increases the accuracy of the shots. So all in all, that's pretty much it with the history of the Gundam itself. But now to the kit. It was really easy to put together. It is a high grade. There's a good amount of detail in this kit, especially for it being a high grade. Not so much in articulation, but the color separation is pretty good. There was maybe 5 or 6 stickers in total, and that was mainly just the yellow to separate on the blue pieces. But all in all, fairly simple kit to put together, and the design I think is great. So let's go ahead and look at the booster. Alright guys, so here's the, let's call it the Mark 1 booster. In the anime, this is actually the first upgrade that Yuma makes to the Lightning Gundam. He adds this, and this in turn makes the Lightning faster. It can turn into a flight mode, and then it also adds a missile pods on the Lightning, because originally it doesn't have any missiles. So enough with that. Let's just get to the kit. Fairly easy to build. There's 3 small runners. Color separation is there. There was some stickers, but very little. I believe it was 5 stickers in total, the 4 yellow parts on each side of the wing, and then there's a light blue part on the bottom, the front part of the bottom of the booster. All in all, easy. The wings fold in on the back and the front. The fin on the top also folds down, and then this also converts once it's put on. Can be different things, which we'll go into now. So the first weapon we have here is the standard beam rifle, and nothing special here, but what's pretty cool is that you can actually interchange the front end, like the barrel assembly, for between this and then between a longer barrel version, which is, in theory, is for sniping, and this one is more for regular attacks or medium ranged attacks. So that's pretty cool. I like that they did that, so you can interchange between having basically an assault rifle and then having a sniper rifle type of deal. And also on the sniper rifle you can add an additional scope or targeting system, which is pretty cool. And here is that long range barrel with the additional targeting system or scope there by the that's close to the offhand, so you can see the difference in length between the two. I mean, it's pretty substantial. It's pretty cool. I like that they did that, so that helps add some variety to the weapon system of the kit, instead of it just being a generic beam rifle or a generic machine gun or some type of cannon. They actually added some flavor, and they give you a choice. They give you some options depending on what you want to do or how you want to pose it, which is pretty cool. So definitely should take advantage of what it can do. And then here we actually have I'm using the long range version of the rifle, and I have it hooked up to one of the high performance sensors, the green orb that's in the shoulder, and that amplifies the accuracy of the rifle. This kit also comes with 2 beam sabers. Both beam sabers, the hilts are stored under the side skirts of the armor. You have one on each side, and that's pretty much it. I mean, beam saber is a beam saber. You've seen one, you've seen them all. There's nothing Nothing special here in this kit that differentiates these beam sabers from any other kit that I've done up until this point. And finally here we have the booster actually mounted on the Lightning. Now the beam cannons that you see on the shoulders of the Lightning, those actually come with the booster. So you can either put the missile pods or you could put those beam cannons. Now the funny thing is that on the Lightning it has the space for you to put in those beam cannons up on the shoulders. Either that or you can do the missile pods on the shoulders. Either or. So the beam cannons add even more firepower to the Lightning in a machine that already has a good amount. The front end of the booster comes off and it actually goes together with the shield that comes with the Lightning, and that makes just a bigger shield, a longer shield. Now the way that the booster is shown here is actually how it is shown in the anime, with all the wings closed and the fin down. Let's take a look at how it looks with the fin up and all the wings open. And here we have the booster mounted with the wings open, just to give a different look so you guys can see how different it looks with everything open, all the wings open and the fin up. Another thing to note is that the missile pod can be used in this form. So with the booster mounted, excuse me, the missile pods can still be used to attack. The booster doesn't have to separate and then launch. It could launch directly while it's mounted on the Lightning. So here's the Lightning and booster in flight mode. Now this wasn't too difficult to get together as far as actually bending all the pieces together in order to get into the right shape to fit the booster on, to get it into this mode. It wasn't too difficult. I've dealt with other kits that I haven't reviewed that it was extremely difficult to transform into their flight modes, but this one was fairly simple. You're dealing mostly with the arms, a little bit with the feet and the knees, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you just put the booster on it. Pretty easy. So apparently, according to the history or whatever you want to call it, that the thrust in flight mode was so high. Well, yeah, this is true. In the anime, at the end of the championship, the first championship, the regional, they basically they're fighting in space, and the flight mode has enough thrust to hold another Gundam on top of it. So that just shows how powerful the booster is, or how powerful the Lightning is with the booster. That it has enough power to carry an additional Gundam on top of it into battle. So that's pretty cool. Just a little tidbit there. I'm pretty sure, not that it really matters, but I just figured it's something a little cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation of the Lightning Gundam. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. So let's start up at the head. Let's see, can it do the Exorcist? Can it do it? No, it can't do it left. It can't do it right. Down is very limited and up is very limited. The chin, and there's an armor piece that goes around the neck that limits that. Now at the arm, at the shoulder, that wasn't supposed to happen. 90 degrees. The kit is pretty solid, so don't worry about what just happened. I just took it too far. But yeah, so the arm can extend out to 90 degrees at the shoulder. Now looking at the elbow, let's see what we get here. More than 90 degrees, and really the only thing holding it back is the little light blue part that's underneath the sensor. So all in all, so far so good. Let's look at the waist area. Left to right, there's not much going on, and back and forth there's actually absolutely nothing, so very limited there. The skirt can flip up all the way, which is great for some things, but not for everything. That centerpiece doesn't move at all on the front. The side skirts move very little. I would say 15 degrees on both sides. I mean, it's very little. And remember, the beam sabers are stored underneath the side skirts. So with that very little movement, you don't get much extension on the legs. So the Lightning Gundam cannot do the Johnny Cage punch. Now forward, since the skirt goes all the way up, yes, the leg can extend all the way forward, 90 degrees. Now at the knee bends at two different joints, which allows it to go more than 90, which is pretty cool. And finally, at the foot, there's a pretty decent amount of articulation at the ankle. And also at the foot too, because the foot needs to bend back like that in order to go into flight mode. So again, pretty good articulation at the ankle, which is pretty good. So all in all, I mean, the kit's not bad. It's limited in some areas in the waist area, basically like the torso. The kit is pretty limited, but everywhere else, I mean, I guess I would say it's pretty standard, based on other kits that I've seen. And here we have what I'm calling this the Mark 1 full power Lightning Gundam. Basically, it's the booster with the beam cannons and the long range rifle on the back, and he's running the medium range, the regular beam rifle in his hand. I have all the wings open, the fin open, just trying to show, a position of power. There's just something with all this stuff on it that it just shows like, I'm here to kick ass, I'm here to kick your ass, and yeah, don't mess with me. So I just wanted to do this with everything on it so you guys can see what it looks like, completely just balling out here. Now, since this is a Build Fighters kit, this kit is being posed on the GP base. It's gonna go like this on my shelf. So I was able to find somebody created a template, the GP base template, so you can go ahead and edit the information, the builder, the fighter, the scale, the class, the model number, and then the name of the gunpla. So what I did was I took that template and I just changed everything to make it look like this was an actual functioning GP base, which I thought was pretty cool. So it looks pretty good on the shelf. And then another thing that I did is I added a little LED light, which you can actually buy the Bandai LED units for the regular ones, and it'll fit on the GP base. Granted, I don't have one, so I just took whatever LED I had lying around and I kind of just made something together, and yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. So my final thoughts on the Lightning Gundam and the booster pack is they definitely need to go together. So if you get the Lightning, you have to get the booster. If you don't get this booster, at least get the Mark II booster, which would then make the full burn-in Lightning. So all in all, the kit is good, articulation is decent, the details is good for a high grade, and I highly recommend this kit. It's extremely easy to put together. I found this easier to put together than the high grade RX 78-2. So I highly recommend this kit. It looks good. Just do it. Just do it. So with all that said, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Next up is the Star Winning Gundam. which I think is the actual star of the Tri-Build Fighters anime series. So until then, guys, see you next time. Peace.